in on the question whether Honkai Star Rail is free-to-play friendly or not, after the man himself, MrPokke, decided to drop a tweet giving his opinion on that topic. And quite a few viewers were dissatisfied by both MrPokke and me not mentioning a topic that has been going on for quite some time now, which is the lack of new 4-star characters. The reason I did not mention the topic was simply due to it, in my opinion, being a too complex topic to shove it in as a side point in the video and just call it a day. The entire discussion of missing 4-stars has been going on for close to 2 years now, considering that the last 4-star unit of HSR is Mose, who got released on the 10th of September 2024, a very interesting patch release date to say the least. And while the 4-star debate has been going on for a long time now, that topic has now reached a state where it's no more as easy to answer as, yes, the lack of 4-stars is hurting the game. But let me explain. 4-stars have been an important part of HSR's ecosystem since its release, as many 4-stars have rivaled partially 5-star counterparts.
I literally just realized, is there a Acheron sustain? What? I literally just realized what I didn't even know. Okay, but you know what? That's good.
And allowed players to run their teams with a viable budget option. A good example of this would be Gallagher, for example, who allowed you in 2.x to not feel bad about not being able to pull Lingsha. On the contrary, I personally would actually argue that going all in into Firefly and potentially getting that E2 and just running a Gallagher was a smarter investment than getting a Lingsha. But after Mose in 2.5, we stopped getting 4-stars. The lack of 4-stars and the issue with it started becoming especially apparent in 3.x, which I deem to be HSR's worst game state since release, where the lack of 4-star remembrance unit options and tailor-made Lightcone reliant teammates, which would be released in quick succession, would start drowning players. However, as the game was struggling and a ton of people started dropping the game out of frustration,
Holy isolation. God damn.
Of the game state, things suddenly started to slowly change. The Golden Companion Spirit Shop got introduced in 3.2, and everyone got a free Luocha or Ruan Mei, as well as Blade, Fu Xuan and Seele entering the 50-50 loss pool. We would suddenly get the concept of Nova Flares in 3.4, which would rekindle the usage of older characters and get them into meta territory in order for Hoyo to push a specific upcoming unit in a healthy way. As an example, instead of creating Dot from the ground up and making you pull for Kafka too, they instead simply buffed Kafka, which is a solution I personally enjoy over just creating a newer, better character that you now have to pull. Should Nova Flares be done primarily in order to make characters that really desperately need it viable, over it being primarily a marketing tool for an upcoming unit or archetype? Perhaps, but that question is not the focus of today's video. But after the Nova Flares,
wait, this guy has full E6 for everything, bro. That's E6, right on E6, bro. Probably E6 Irene, and probably E6 Irene. That is crazy. Wait, bro, do be swiping, bro.
That's when the big guns came
yeah,
out,
like the fucking Silver Wolf unique winner shit, bro.
Potentially receiving a free Archer Light Cone in 3.4, which was a very divisive topic. But hey, I made a video on that like a year ago, so why not check it out? And lastly, the free Danhang PT with an incredible presentation in the 3.5 livestream, both of which are to this day tier 0 meta characters.
Absolutely.
We would then receive another free Golden Companion Spirit with Topaz joining the shop in 3.7, us getting a free 5-star selector with 4.0, which would feature meta units such as Kafka and the newly Nova Flared Sparkle for free. Another free Golden Companion Spirit with Robin and Huohuo entering the shop, and are now in 4.4 receiving a free Gilgamesh or another free Archer. This is by every definition insane. I mean it in every unbiased way possible. The fact that E1 Archer, Sparkle, Danhang PT and RMC or Ruan Mei is a team that is literally zero cost and free to play with 0 gold spent is, to me at least, completely mind-blowing. This is something
I'm
that, in my
boinging with how
opinion, should
insane
not
this is
be
right now.
understated. Which brings us to the main point of today's video. As you can see, ever since 4 stars have stepped out of the picture, we have received not only things like Nova Flares, but simply a massive amount of consistent 5-star characters that are not only free, but are also sometimes very meta relevant. So instead of it being a straight up removal of 4 stars, it instead feels more of a change of direction. Sacrifice
Completely unrelated, cause Envy used the emote for bounce. I found out a way to set up my phone as like my wireless webcam to do our cooking stream. Yeah. So like we might be getting that cooking stream very soon. So I can basically link up my phone to the OBS, and then I start streaming on OBS, and then use my phone as a webcam, and then the phone will then be our like, I can just bring the phone to the kitchen or some shit. So we'll get our cooking stream very soon, right? Very nice.
all 4 stars and instead start giving players
Mr.
out
Chef.
free 5 stars instead, which makes the topic nowadays more complex than it was in 3.1, for example, since you can either want the old system back or you can prefer the new one. I will now give my personal, fully biased opinion and my perspective as a 1.0 player. I try to view it logically. And from that perspective, the current system we have is simply superior to the old one for a multitude of reasons, which all mostly somehow tie back to resources.
Chat.
Because, as I like to say, Honkai Star Rail to me is simply a
with a
resource management
superior
thing, especially
system
if you are free to play.
and
Starting
a
off,
superior
4-star characters
god,
cost resources.
as
You
in
can
god
get them on
rail.
the standard banner. You can sometimes obtain them via event 4-star selectors. But realistically, you have to obtain them via banner pulling. The reason for that is that competitive 4-stars are sadly oftentimes Eidolon reliant. Gallagher, as an
Yikes.
example, only gains his cleanse if he has his E2, and his E4, for example, increases the
huge
duration
yikes.
of his Besotted debuff by another 1 turn.
Okay,
This is
completely unrelated, bro. Speaking of, there was this series that I wanted to do, right? I wanted to do this series for you guys, where it's like HSR worth it, right? It's HSR worth it. So this one thingy, right? So I wanted to show you guys this real quick. I already finished it, by the way. I finished the 4 course, 8 course, 12 course comparisons for Asheville. Or not Asheville, sorry, Emblade. There was just one potential thingy, which is I did a bit of a swap back with regards to the second team. Because I heard chat's complaints because your streamer listened, right? Your streamer listened. I heard chat's complaints with regards to what if players didn't pull for Asheville? Right, what if players didn't pull for Asheville? So I went back and did this entirely new setup, which is why I have like so little sleep in the past couple of days, because I'm like legitimately working so fucking hard. So here it is right here. That is the wrong screenshot. I'm so sorry. Wait. That is the wrong screenshot. That is the wrong screenshot. Okay, here it is right here. Okay, well, here it is right here. Huh? Oh. Okay, so I went back to cook up a brand new team just as an alternative for Akron players who didn't pull for Asheville, which I'm guessing is going to be quite a lot of Akron players. Because y'all didn't know that Akron is going to be using Asheville, or that Asheville is going to be working so well with Emblade, and nobody knew, which is pretty fair, right? So I intentionally just went back and did a 2-time testing, one with Tribi and one with Asheville. Now, there is one particular thing right here, which you guys might have noticed, is this. The sustain here is E0, S0, Hyacinth for both teams. But the Trivia is E1. Which technically means that the second team is a 5-cost team instead of a 4-cost team. So naturally, the solution that I would have arrived is to use Gallagher. Right, is to use Gallagher. With great unfortunate news, I must say, it's not possible, guys. It probably would have been possible, but I'm not going to reset all that. Because the reason why this is not possible is because the teams, or rather the environment that I tested this worth it cost investments in HSR, this time for Emblade, was an Anomaly Arbitration King. And Anomaly Arbitration King, there's this very specific debuff. I'm not sure if they showed it on like their Hoyo side or whatever, but I'm gonna post the Anomaly Arbitration video probably very, very soon. You need to have a proper sustain. Because you take a lot of fucking damage. So I can confidently say, right, with 4 costs, if your entire team here is going to be E0, Ezreal, Akron, E0, Ezreal, Blade, E1, Ezreal, 3B, if I use the Gallagher, it was not possible. Like, you just die, bro. Now, you might be wondering, MrPokke, why did I not use DHPD or Luocha? Because they're free, right? Because they're free. Okay, the way I see it as a very fair streamer is, as long as they are a limited unit, I'm just going to count them as 1 cost. Because not everyone can get a Luocha with 0 cost. They could redeem a Luocha, but there is an opportunity cost of a Hue, of a Ranmei, of a Babin. And then for DHPD, while it is free for most players, if you were a new player or you didn't play during Amphorius, you can't get DHPD. So I'm being like very, very, very fair here, especially when I do my serious guide videos. I don't really indulge in like rage baiting or whatever. So like, if that unit is limited, it's 1 cost. So my point is basically, even though Gallagher was really, really good back then, oh boy, it's hard, bro. It's hard to use him. Extremely hard, right?
That's just one example, but a lot of times...
Alright, and frankly speaking, if you would use E0 as your DHPD with Emblade, you're not going to have a good time. Because E0 as your DHPD does not have you. And that particular Anomaly Arbitration, the damage is very, very, very fucking high. So your blade is probably going to buff levels, bro. So it is what it is.
4-stars need to be at E6 to be fully competitive against their 5-star alternative. This means that just a 4-star selector from an event is not really enough. And with standard banners being insanely gamble, even if you specifically saved up standard banner pulls for a new 4-star, you will still ultimately need to spend pull resources on a banner, which brings you in another dilemma.
Absolutely. Number 1, yo, Restricted Dreamer. Well, can you change your Twitch name to DOT, guy? First of all, I'm sure you can use Gallagher Sustain to slap S. Because you're not using a 4-cost team, bro. Right, you can slap on your E4 Cyrene, right? E2 Cypher, fucking E2, right? But sure, right? Sure. But think about the free-to-plays, bro. Think about the bobs. Alright, think about the people out there that are less fortunate. Because free-to-plays can't get islands, right? Remember that, right? Free-to-plays can never get islands, so it is what do.
As a free-to-play player, you don't want to throw away resources for...
Bro, look at the fucking... Holy shit. That is insanely close.
Just a 4-star. So for you to have an optimal scenario, the new 4-star you want needs to be on a banner where you also want the 5-star, which is realistic if we remember Firefly's release banner, for example. However, a free-to-play player's god scenario where you get Firefly in your first 10 pull suddenly puts you in a weird situation where you are happy that you got the new 5-star unit instantly, but it now also feels bad because you're still missing the maxed out E6 4-star for that new character. This scenario and example was, by the way, based on my personal experience back in 2.3. Another big point I want to make is that generally speaking...
Oh my goodness, is that a 0 cycle right now? Holy shit,
it's
bro.
hard, especially in modern HSR, in my opinion, to give players a strong 4-star DPS. 4-star characters that are strong are either strong with a specific niche or utility, like...
Bro, I'm gonna be so for real, right? Where is my HSR right now? Pull up. The only strong 4-star characters at the moment, I can think of 3. Buckle, low-key, kind of still viable. Alright. Taking is kind of viable. I can see that. Asta, but this is purely just because she's getting carried so fucking hard with Silver Wolf. It's like it's literally just because of Silver Wolf. So like, and I want to do. And Mose. Mose is actually still really, really good for the facial zero cyclers. There's been a lot of cost maxing done with specifically Mose. Yeah, but it's also like a very, very super fucking niche group. Everyone else is just like, you don't really ever see them anymore. Okay, maybe except for QQ, because QQ is like God. Where is QQ? Yeah, QQ is basically God. But like, these three are the only 4-stars I would say that like, they're pretty good. That they are pretty like viable enough to the point where you can save costs and then like invest that shit back into your DPS or supports. And they can still like low-key do the job a little bit for you. Everything else is still like, nah, Pella, bro. Really? You're using Pella? You're using Pella? Bro, do you guys not have this thing called E4 Well Yang? Bro, why use Pella when you can have an E4 Well Yang, guys? Come on. Come on, everybody has an E4. Anyways.
Gallagher being a simple sustainer that can also deal significant toughness damage, especially after that E2, or a Mose who requires special gimmicks and a sub-DPS-like mechanic to be viable, and will generally still, even at E6, have a hard time competing with a 5-star alternative like Topaz, while actually...
What the fuck is this team, by the way? Is that the legendary... eruditionless Herda hyper carry Asheville well sustained Trevi wheelchair? Holy shit. There's gotta be some crazy items on the Asheville, not even gonna lie.
4-star main DPS like Misha disappear before they even had a chance to exist. As you can see with Archer or Dr. Ratio, you can make them straight up main DPS characters and they can take over the game quite easily. So on average, when you compare the two systems, not only is an E0 free 5-star just stronger and better than a new 4-star even at E6, but while a free 5-star with the current system is literally free, as in 0 points, you realistically will have to spend actual pull resources for a new 4-star. Depending on your luck,
with
it
a
could
capital
take
F.
months for you to fully hit that E6
right
4-star potential. Another point is that 4-star Nova Flares don't exist, and to be honest, in my opinion, most likely will never exist, while a free 5-star can always suddenly get a Nova Flare, and also even enter the Golden Companion Spirit Shop like Hoho. So while we cannot know if a free 5-star has the chance of potentially getting a Nova Flare, that chance ultimately is never zero.
Alright, yo, 3 main push guy. So he used a Herda here just to make use of the Apoc Shadow's erudition respawn buff. So her entire existence is for the fucking buff. Bro, that is disrespectful as shit, bro. You know that there's fucking like episode with like Rick and Morty, and then there was like this like little robot, and then he was like, "What is my purpose? You pass butter." Oh my god. Like, bro, her purpose is to just fucking exist for the rest of my life. That's crazy,
well, the chance of a new 4-star getting a buff is, at the moment, 0. And lastly, a very unique aspect that I have rarely seen being talked about, that is, in my opinion, actually one of the most important ones for me personally. The current system artificially gives you as a player more pulls. And I'm not talking about you needing to pull for 4-stars while the free 5-stars are completely free. But what I mean is that depending on how long you have been playing the game, there is a pretty realistic chance that you have every or almost every 4-star at E6. This means that every time you pull one of these 4-stars again, you will instead gain 20 Undying Starlight,
that is a
which
very,
you can
very good
exchange
point.
for 1 premium.
Yeah, people don't really talk about it. That's a very, very good point.
So with every 10 pull you do,
there's more of those
a very high chance of you getting at least 1 pull back, which the more you play and pull can potentially accumulate to a high pull amount that is being refunded back to you, which is one of the main reasons why I prefer the current system more. Not only do I view the free 5-star plus Nova Flare system stronger than getting 4-stars, but just economically speaking, speaking, this system artificially starts increasing your pull amount as a free-to-play player after you have played enough to max out a vast majority of the 4-star roster. In a game like HSR, where pulling for teams instead of singular units has become the norm, this kind of artificial pull increase can really mean a lot. And yes, this is the point where many people are going to say, well, you might be right or wrong, but why can we not have both? Why can we not just keep on getting free 5-stars while at the same time also getting new 4-stars occasionally? And the answer? Technically speaking, we can. There's nothing speaking against it. What I am doing here, however, is commenting on a trend that to me at least has enough points to form a graph, as well as me knowing that gacha games are inherently predatory and how in general gacha devs think and act. There is nothing wrong with wanting both. Especially if you know that a character that you would love seeing playable is not exceptional enough to become a 5-star. And I would agree with you. In a perfect world, we get both and solve this debate by having everyone be happy. I just, after 3 years of being with this game, find it improbable to expect Hoyo to just come down and make everyone happy for free. So because of that, I think that instead you as a player have to decide and choose what path you find more suitable for yourself. For me personally, I don't mind never getting a new 4-star again if that means that this kind of pace and also meta relevance of free 5-stars keeps going on. But hey, at the end of the day, that's just my opinion. Let me know what your thoughts on this topic are, as I do know that this is one of the more complex and divisive discussions in Honkai Star Rail. So head down to the comments and feel free to tell me about your personal opinion, as well as whether you agree or disagree with me. Consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already, and
bro, I'm surprised this guy didn't say it depends. And I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bro, man, at the end of the day, it depends. Alright, absolutely exceptional video by Mephisto. Alright, chat. Real quick, before we send this for the Clips channel, right, real quick. The way I see it about the HSR 4-star sit. Okay, this might actually be a pretty good main channel topic. I have to cook up like a script or something, right? But the way that I see like the HSR 4-star situation is like, it's not so much a matter of I want more 4-stars without an opportunity cost of another condition. Which is basically what he said just now, right? Is like, if you could get more 4-stars and maintain everything that has been happening right now, I think we will all be happy, right? So we still get Nova Flares, we still get free 5-stars, we still get the buffs, and we still get the combat. So we keep like everything we have right now, and they add more free 4-stars. Like, not free, as in like they add more 4-stars. That will be like the ideal world. Right? That will be the ideal world, right? But realistically speaking, this ideal world, it does come with like a cost. Alright? It does come with a cost. Because for every single... Okay, I'm just thinking about it from like a business perspective, right? Number one, gacha companies, all gacha companies inherently, they want to make money. I don't think we need a... It's not a topic of whether or not a gacha game company is predatory, right? That is like... the answer is yes. It is what it is. But it is more so like from the way that they develop the opportunity cost of adding a 4-star is essentially the marketing budget for creating that new 4-star. Right? Because 4-stars don't just come out from the air, bro. Right? They have to design that shit. They have to make the art, right? Insert bro to the lore. Okay, I guess the lore part is not that important because they already inserted bro, right? They probably already have like, for example, like Screwlum's model and like Rekka's model, right? So like, you still need to like design their kits and like think about whether or not they're gonna like break the meta and like what are they gonna do for the Eidolons. And if you do add in the four stars, how many people are gonna be like swiping to get their like E2s or E6 because it's gonna be a new 4-star. So if that is gonna be the case, it will inevitably direct more business expense from a predatory gacha game company. And if you were to ask me as a player, would I rather that budget be allocated towards creating a new 4-star, or do I want that budget to be allocated towards making more Nova flares? Assuming you can only pick one, all right? I would choose the latter. I would prefer if there are more good 5 stars and you get those 5 stars with greater ease as the game develops further and further. Because right now we can get every single version 1, right? And I don't know how many years it's going to take before we get every single version 2. But imagine a day by 10.0 HSR, you can get version 3 for free, bro. They gave out Cyrene in the fucking selector. Bro, that will be... Bro, that is like... Because these kind of like new environments and enemies and art types and like patches, they will never stop, right? Unless the game EOS, but they'll just keep going. And they'll keep going. So rather than inflating the pool of units that I have right now as a player with 4 stars, I'd rather they just like make whatever we have right now a little bit closer to the benchmark in that current version. So that the older units in like version 1 is gonna be like a little bit closer to what we have in version 4. Instead of, I just don't have that. And then we add like 1 new 4-star every other patch. Just for most of them to be like, you know, a little bit more difficult to use if assuming you can't get that E6. And if you do get that E6, why if they still get replaced? Especially for 4-star DPS. Unless they only make 4-star supports. That would be pretty good, right? Like a 4-star sustain for Remembrance by then would have been insane. A 4-star high scene, it would have been insane. But it's not, right? So those are gonna be my 2 cents. Let me know what y'all think. And I will see you guys on the clip channel. Also, Well Yang is free, by the way. Right, this guy is free. So bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. Thank you.
You have cooled your last cool, my man.